Welcome to the Cowboys Report, folks. We're going to start with some news and rumors around the Cowboys, and we start with whether or not we have a new 0 stars for our Cowboys Report. This one's actually getting 4 stars, by the way, which is that's irony, right? 0 stars, now 4 stars. And we do have our new one after thousands of vote from Facebooks and YouTube, and we got some Twitter DMs as well. Odell Beckham is your new 0 stars focus. It was close, but the fights OBJ won versus the net ended up winning. Of course, that being 0, hence 0 stars. Eagles class, Texans rings were not that far behind, but Odell Beckham fights one against the net is your new 0 stars. So here is our new look rumor-o-meter graphic. 0 stars, fights Odell Beckham 1 against the net. 1 star is a small shred of truth. 2 star means that people are talking. It's firmly in that rumor category. 3 stars means it's pretty likely, and 4 stars means that Dez caught it. Hello, friends. I'm Tom Downey. Follow me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney for more Cowboys coverage. We've got more rumors and news coming up for you, plus look at some potential draft targets this year for the Dallas Cowboys. Our next rumor will go back to one Tony Romo. Could he be a pro golfer? Well, people are most certainly talking about this one, and the people in this case is actually one Jordan Spieth. He says that he thinks Romo could indeed be a professional golfer. Now, Romo will play in a PGA Tour event later this year, a much lesser one, a much smaller one. He got a sponsor's exemption. He reportedly brings a putter with him into the broadcast booth. That's how much he loves golf. Spieth thinks he can be a pro golfer, but it's not quite that simple. So I don't know if Romo's ever going to make the jump to professional golf. We know it's a passion of his, and he'll probably try out again for the U.S. Open this year. But I think this is more firmly in the 2-star category that people are talking. Our third rumor now, and this is some good news, by the way, folks, was a former Cowboys running back found safe. Thankfully, yes, he was. 4 stars on this one. If you saw this kind of leading up in the past couple of days, former Cowboys halfback and fullback Lincoln Coleman actually went missing on Friday. Thankfully, he was found safe earlier today on Tuesday. The 48-year-old suffers from dementia, also went missing in May. So good news here. He was found safe. Dallas Police has confirmed that. So good news there for Coleman and his friends and family. Those are your first 3 rumors. We got a few more coming up here for you. Let's get to a current Cowboy in Taco Charlton. And namely, will Taco improve next year? Well, this because we're giving this one 3 stars. Charles Haley, friend of the show and former Cowboys great, chimed in on this very recently. He says that he thinks Taco will be better next year. Maybe, perhaps most interestingly enough, he said he was surprised by Charlton's lack of knowledge. And now Haley says that he thinks Charlton wants to be good. In the past, Charlton was just good at football. Maybe didn't have the same passion that he has now. But this seems to be good news for Taco and the Cowboys. Haley thinks he'll be better, and I agree. I think it is pretty likely that Taco's better next year. It's not 4 stars because, well, maybe Taco gets hurt and that's how he doesn't improve. But it does seem pretty likely that Taco Charlton is better next year for the Dallas Cowboys. Number 5 on our list, the Zack Martin won a Kevin Zeitler-type deal. The Zeitler name is a very important one here, and it is pretty likely as well. Zeitler is the highest-paid guard in the NFL. Now, we're only giving it 3 stars for really 2 main reasons. First one, very minimal. Maybe he takes less money. Doesn't seem all that likely. But the reason it's not 4 stars is he might want a bigger than Kevin Zeitler deal. I fully expect Martin, once this contract is done, to be the highest paid guard in the NFL, and rightfully so. He is an incredible guard. He is the best one in the NFL. Might as well be paid like one. He should get more than 5 years, $60 million when it comes out to the average length of that contract. Speaking of contracts and offensive linemen, how about Travis Frederick? Will the Cowboys restructure his deal? This one also seems pretty likely. This is our pretty likely version here. Frederick, it just makes sense to restructure his contract when it comes to the Cowboys, and Frederick has a pretty significant cap hit coming up this year for the Dallas Cowboys. It's over $13 million. Now, that's a lot for a center, highest in the NFL, but a restructure would free up $7 million in cap space. That helps the Cowboys afford DeMarcus Lawrence, helps them afford Zack Martin, and maybe others as well in free agency. So it does seem pretty likely, almost close to 4 stars, but not quite a done deal yet. But it seems very likely that the Cowboys will indeed restructure Frederick's contract and get more money for free agency. And speaking of free agency, how about my current favorite free agent target, Kenny Vaccaro? Could he be coming to Dallas? Well, the Dallas Morning News mentioned this. It's now firmly in the rumor category now that it comes from the Dallas Morning News. They said Vaccaro is an option for the Dallas Cowboys. They could target him in free agency. And as we've mentioned on previous Cowboys reports, Dallas likes Vaccaro. They almost traded for him last year at the deadline, or during the draft, before the deadline. They also almost drafted Vaccaro a few years ago, but weren't going to trade up for him. They then traded down and got Travis Frederick. So that worked out pretty well in the end for the Dallas Cowboys. I want to see Vaccaro on the Dallas Cowboys. He is my #1 free agent target. I think he is a perfect fit for what Dallas needs in the secondary. Speaking of the secondary, we are now in the rumor category for this one as well. Could Byron Jones actually move to corner? Well, per ESPN's Todd Archer, the Cowboys are at least discussing and considering it. I have wanted this since the middle of last year, even before that. Byron Jones is a freak athlete, corner/free safety, who was forced to play strong safety for reasons. Let's just leave it at that because they don't really make a whole lot of sense. He is a perfect fit for the Cowboys as a cornerback, and this seems to have some stamp of approval from Chris Richard. He likes longer corners that are great athletes. That is Byron Jones to a T. I think he is a perfect outside corner for Dallas. You put Byron Jones on one side, Chidobe Awuzie on the other, and you make Jordan Lewis into the best nickel corner in the NFL. I think it'd be a perfect fit for Dallas, and hopefully this rumor ends up coming true. One final rumor for you guys today, and it is on Emmanuel Sanders, maybe the best one that's been floating around there on Cowboys Twitter. There was a report from friend of the show, Bobby Belt, that says Emmanuel Sanders would prefer to play for the Cowboys if his time in Denver comes to an end. Denver is actively trying to trade Emmanuel Sanders and his nearly $11 million salary. However, Sanders is only an option if he takes a hometown discount. Dallas will not trade for Sanders because it's about the same as Dez Bryant, and I don't know if Sanders is actually a better player than Dez Bryant is, but I would love to see Sanders join the Cowboys, which brings us to a first reaction poll of the day. Who would you rather have at wide receiver? Dez Bryant, Emmanuel Sanders, both of them, or neither of them? Now, some Cowboys experts out there don't think it's likely that the Cowboys can get both of these guys. I see a scenario in which it does happen, and I'm often the bearer of bad news. Not today. I think you can, A, get Dez to take a pay cut or restructure his contract, add a fake year at the end of it to help lessen his cap hit this year. Sanders, I think, will be cut by Denver. They're not going to find any takers when they want a mid-round pick for someone to take on an $11 million salary. Not going to happen. So if Sanders takes less money to come home to Dallas, remember, he went to SMU. He's from Belleville, Texas, kind of in between Austin and Houston. He grew up a Cowboys fan. You get Sanders to take a hometown discount, Dez to kind of restructure his deal. You get both of those guys, and your receiving core looks a lot different. I think Emmanuel Sanders is the perfect receiver for Dak Prescott. He gets open on his own. He'd be a really good fit. So keep those votes flowing, folks.